Kia ora team, and welcome back to another episode of Vigor. I've been a bit lax in not getting this stuff out to you as quickly as I possibly could. I say that, but I did a live stream of Vigor over on my Twitch channel, and I didn't do very well. I lost my gun. I got killed twice. Anyway, that's the situation when you're me. Just want to update you on a couple of things before we get stuck in. So, these gun challenges. So, I did a couple of pistol challenges, and no, you don't get anything. Which is I can't help but feel that maybe there should be some kind of reward. Usually if you have a game with challenges like this, you get scaled rewards. So like if you got all bronze, you would get, a hat. If you got all silver, you would get some ammo, and if you got all gold, you would get like a, I don't know, fancy dancy gun or a backpack, or I don't know, something, and there would be a whole scale of stuff that you could potentially get, to encourage you to do these things. I didn't get nothing, which is disappointing. Very disappointing. Anyway, what I wanted to have a look at was guns. Because I wanted to briefly explain something about guns. Because obviously, I took out a rifle. I took out the VSS, and I have two more, and I can make one more. So that's why I picked it. But when we're talking about picking guns, and I don't know, but I know some of this stuff from DayZ and a few bits and pieces and all the rest of it. So look, I'm not a gun expert before we get started on this, so don't chime in with all kinds of facts and figures and everything. But let me tell you what a reasonable noob might expect from trying to understand these things, because there's lots of weapons. How do you pick one that's going to work? Different sizes of ammo, different this, different that, all the rest of it, blah 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 blah. So what you want to know is, you want to know probably the key basics to help you make a decision in terms of what gun are you going to take with you and why, right? There's a couple of things perhaps. First off, this gun doesn't have a scope. So you're going to be relying on the iron sights that are actually on the weapon, right? So that's looking down the gun and sighting iron sights. Not heavily reliable and not great over distance, right? This gun, however, has an optic on it. So this one you'll be able to aim through a scope, and probably a slightly better range, and probably the ability to do a headshot at distance with a bit more accuracy, etc, 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 all the rest of that kind of jazz. So that's that situation. You've obviously got assault rifles, you have rifles, you have submachine guns, and you have machine guns, etc, etc, etc. Shotguns, pistols, melee weapons, and special weapons. He probably doesn't take genius to establish that assault rifles are probably your kind of best all-rounder. A rifle is obviously going to be slower, slightly larger, and it's also going to provide you with some better opportunities for aiming and sniping and so on. Submachine guns tend to be point and squirt. So you're looking at rapid fire, but probably low caliber. Machine guns, big ass machine guns, as it kind of guessed, they're going to be big, heavy, but they're gonna do a high rate of fire and lots of damage if you can hit things with it. Shotguns tend to be close range weapons, as shotguns tend to be. This is not something that's going to work very well over long distance, even with slugs, because shotguns are just not that accurate. Pistols are what they are, small caliber, reasonably okay to aim, probably relatively short distance. Melee weapons are what they are. You got to be up close and personal. And the only special weapon they've got so far, as I can figure out, is the crossbow. I don't have one. but if it's anything like the DayZ crossbow, it's not so good for people. It's slow, it's cumbersome, it's heavy, it's a problem, etc., etc. That's sort of the generalities. If you have a look into some of the stats that you'll see there on the right, and you can switch this off with triangle, but you probably want to have a look at it. You've got these 5 different things which are pointed out down the side: base damage, rate of fire, muzzle speed, ergonomics, and capacity. And across the top you have 9 different symbols. I guess one is, I'm going to guess these based on my experience: single shot, burst, automatic. I don't know what weight is for because it's a weight thing. I guess maybe it's heavy. Scope, suppressed, stun, and bleed. Right? So this one has a scope. This one does not. This one fires single shot and fully automatic. This one fires single shot burst, which is usually 2 or 3 or 4 shots in a row. It could be 3 here, but that may be just a symbol. But it doesn't have optics or anything like that. If we go down, let's have a look at the SVU here. Same with the VSS. So the VSS, you'll see, has suppressed. That has an inbuilt suppressor on it, which is going to keep it quiet for you. That's pretty good. This one, PHM82, has a stun factor to it. The base damage is tremendous, 180. So when it hits somebody, it's going to automatically stun them. Possibly that means knock them unconscious. Don't know, just saying. But it's a big gun, big heavy hitter, right? And I think maybe we'd have to go to melee weapons for bleed. See, so you inflict someone with a Barracuda machete, and you're going to inflict a bleed on them, which means they're bleeding, right? So all of that kind of stuff. So that's sort of more or less the basics of what you're looking at. So you've got those things across the top. Heavy. Let's have a look. Maybe machine guns might be heavy. Is there anything particular? This one. So the Maschinengewehr 3 is particularly heavy. It says there. As you know, it's a bipod machine gun. It's enormous. It's going to take. It's a fully automatic, but it's a great big heavy old sucker. So it's going to take an awful lot to cart that thing around. Some of the other ones, that's also heavy. There's a bunch of other heavier ones and everything else. So there you go. So that is what all of those characters mean across the top and down the side. So how are you gonna select a weapon for you? Well, probably the most immediate thing you're going to want to have a look at is base damage. So the base damage for the assault rifles is in and around the 30s and 40s, as you can see. Now you compare that with something that's a lot less. Let's say we go to pistols. So let's say we have a look at the PMs. The base damage is 25. This one, Magnum, is a big old stopping power. This one is a kind of a hunting special issue pistol. It's got a lot of stopping rate, but I bet you it's a problem to use that one, probably. You know, you've got your 20s. This is like a 35. The Combat Magnum is 45, but it only has a limited amount of rounds. So, and your Luger is 26. So, slightly less, but there are exceptions. But you'll probably find that it lacks accuracy over distance. But maybe you're a close-up person, and maybe you don't care about that. Entirely up to you. You have the rate of fire. Now, my assumption for the rate of fire is that this is on fully automatic for these things. So where fully automatic is given, it's on fully automatic. Where you've got burst here, I'm still assuming that this is on fully automatic mode. So on fully automatic mode, this is 750. Now, I don't know what that relates to. 750 rounds a minute or something. The point is, you only have a capacity of 26, 25 in your magazine and 1 in the gun. So it doesn't really. That means that on full burst, you're going to get through that pretty quickly, right? So, and you probably expect that. So you've got some that are very high. Of course, firing a lot of bullets quickly and missing just means you're wasting a lot of bullets, as opposed to firing a lot of bullets and hitting, which is completely different, of course. The submachine guns, high rates of fire, like I say, point and squirt, but lower damage. So obviously, one hopes you can you stand a better chance of hitting because the bullets are coming out quicker, so there's less dispersion. We'll talk about that in a minute. So you've got high rate of fire. What was that? 1200. Very fast. Then you got the machine guns, which is, and machine guns can be book, 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 book. They don't have to be like, but a lot of these are up and high and everything, 600s and 700s. Whereas you get down to your shotguns and things, so like this is the Silver Pigeon is effectively like a pump action shotgun, and maybe even just a double barrel. So with 2 shells, it's saying here it's got a rate of fire of 300, presumably a minute. So in theory, you could fire 300 a minute. This one's slightly faster, and this one is magazine fed. But that's a baseline for you, right? The sawed-off shotgun. Yeah, so your very slowest rate of fire for a shotgun, which is point and shoot, reload, point and shoot, is 300, right? So that gives you an idea of how quick these things are, or not, as the case may be. And these pistols are slow. This is slower than a shotgun, probably because of the reload time. So you need to fire 6 rounds, then you need to load 6 rounds. It's going to take you time. But again, that's something to take into account. So just be aware of that with things like rate of fire. Muzzle speed is pretty much as you think it is. We'll probably need to look at rifles for this one. That is the speed at which the bullet exits the muzzle. And I don't know, feet per second, meters per second. I don't know what they're using there, but it's 880. I don't know what that is. Meters per second? That sounds fast. 880 meters in a second. But bullets do travel fast, so maybe that's correct. Now, what that's obviously going to dictate is distance, because the faster a bullet is moving, this is not rocket science physics here, the faster a bullet is moving, the further it will travel. That doesn't necessarily mean accuracy. So while the VSS Vintorez is a rifle, and I've found this from using this in-game in DayZ as well, is because it's suppressed, the bullet travels quite slowly, so it has quite a high drop-off in terms of range. But you're trading off with it has some relatively decent accuracy over short range, and it is suppressed. The SVD, which is a very good sniper rifle, however, you can really take people out at distance with that, and that has a muzzle speed of 830. So that's going far. This a bipod full-on sniper rifle has a muzzle speed of 1,000. This you're going to be able to pick people off at a massive distance if you can get them to stand still for long enough, with a base damage of 140. So, and a very slow rate of fire. This will be a single shot, probably a bolt action weapon, which is why the rate of fire is so very, very slow. So this is definitely a sniper weapon. You're looking down here as well. This is even slower. This is perhaps slightly better for you, but it is a bipod, so you work on that. And a whole bunch of other stuff, like down to the M2 carbine and the Mosed and stuff. Submachine guns, by contrast, submachine guns, by contrast, not a variable. The Thompson submachine gun, relatively slow muzzle speed, so it's a very old gun. So, these are kind of the newer guns, your AUR and so on. And this thing, the ADR. The ADR has a muzzle speed of 715. So probably not too bad for accuracy at distance. But the base damage is very low. So it's it's hitting with a small bullet, not very much penetrating power, and you're going to end up with needing to probably expend a lot of bullets to kill people. But you have a high capacity magazine, and it's carrying 50 in the magazine and 1 in the gun. So, and you can go through and you can do the so-called grease gun. And you can have a look at all these various stats and various other bits and pieces and all the rest of it. Now, the one thing I'm not super sure of, because I haven't run across this before, and I don't know what its story is this ergonomics factor. So you've got ergonomics for these. They're in around the 70s and 80s. For the rifles, it's like the 50s, but you've also got some 80s. For the submachine guns, it's like all over the place. This has an ergonomics of 90. So I'm assuming that the higher the ergonomics, the less difficult it is to carry, and perhaps shoulder, unshoulder, reload, that kind of thing. So larger weapons like the machine guns have very low ergonomics. So I'm assuming this is weight and ease of use, right? Probably slows you down when you're trying to carry it, run with it. It's difficult to wield accurately, and so on and so forth, and all the rest of it. So I'm assuming that's what that means. I mean, if you want to get into the ins and outs of of ammunition and ammo and the different kinds of ammo and why ammo is important and everything, I guess you can. The reality is there's probably an awful lot of complexity in it, and unless you're very, 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 very good at the game and very, very good at shooting people, it probably honestly doesn't matter that much. Perhaps what you need to know is that things like small pistols that take 918s have very little penetrating power, so armor is going to stop them very dead. I don't know, if people are hiding behind doors, etc., pistols are not going to work. The Magnum, by contrast, .44s, they're known for good penetration. So that's something you probably have to bear in mind. This is a 7.6254. That's a big caliber bullet. 919s is a kind of a fairly standard bullet. For pistols, you've got the 3.57 Magnum, which again, you can probably expect that to have quite a lot of penetrating power. 45s, not very good penetrating power, I can tell you that. And you get up to things like, when you're looking at the rifles, you'll see that a lot of rifles have 7.62s. 7.62s are a fairly good weapon-sized round, quite good penetration, quite good damage, all that kind of thing. And you'll probably find that a lot of the assault rifles are like 5.5s or something. You got some 7.62 3.9s. It's more of your Eastern kind of weapons, take that kind of caliber. But NATO is obviously 7.62 5.1 standard, but you've also got 5.56. So the 7.62s probably do a bit more damage than the 5.56s. As you can see, probably a little bit more penetration power, but you kind of need to go into all the nuts and bolts of weapons to understand all of that. So there you go. So I promised I would go through weapons, and I've tried to do that in a way that kind of makes sense without blathering on too much, albeit that I do understand there is an awful lot to get through with weapons. So there you go. What I will do is sort out my loadout, and then we'll jump in and we'll try and do a couple of maps, shall we? And we'll try and not die this time if we at all can. We've picked up a few crowns, so we can pick up some insurance if we want. But yeah, that's the perils of being new at the game and being absolutely dreadful at aiming, like I am. Is it the right weapon for me, the VSS? Is it the wrong weapon? I think it's the right weapon for me. I just think in the instance that what happened, I think that I should have taken cover and taken the opportunity to line up on the person rather than Um, so kind of do it on the fly. It looks like we are out of plate carrier stuff, so that's fine. We're out of plate carrier stuff. I don't suppose there's a lot we can do about that. What I'll do is I'll go and have a look for a map, and I'll be back right soon. Right, here we go. A bunch of new characters, kind of like myself, and oh, blimey, and a level 28. So Struth. Not a lot. The barred house is miles away. I don't know if we'll get to it. And if we did get to it, it would probably be looted anyway. But so look, maybe we'll just run across the map, see if we can't find some stuff that might be of worth to us without getting shot. Maybe we'll bump into somebody. What is that? Chemicals. Thought I saw something over there. It always tells me my network is unstable. No idea why. Somebody working on a car. Somebody coming. This looks weird. It's got lots of stuff in it though. Somebody's been through here. barn? Oh, man. Nearly dead.
Collecting the airdrop is rewarding, but it's also challenging to escape the other Outlanders.
Oh. Oh, can't shoot him. there they are. Where'd they go? Oh. Oh. Dag nabbit. Oh. Well, it was a good try. It was a good try, and we tried, but we died. It was a good try, but we died. Ah, story of my life. I don't mind those so much because you know that's part of the game is testing yourself and challenging yourself. So there we go. Another one that's not a super duper win. Because I've spent so long yapping on at the start of this, I think I'll probably wrap it up here for this one. So it doesn't drag on too long because I know you guys don't like sitting still for too long and listen to me yabber about or run around getting killed. So so there you go. So we carry on regardless. I've somehow managed to acquire another weapon and I don't know where I got that from, but I've managed to acquire it, which is all well and good. So yeah, so I've got that, and I picked up. What did I pick up? I picked up some carbine ammo, which is fine. So there you go. So we live and learn. We carry on. Shame, 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 shame. It kind of points to me that this is really quite hard for a beginner to get anywhere because you can't. You just can't. I don't know. Or maybe I just can't. Maybe it's just me. Maybe you all find it easy and you're like, man, it's a piece of piss. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, there you go. We shall move on and we shall keep trying and we shall see how we do. So yeah, thanks for joining me. I hope I've explained some things with guns to your satisfaction. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any corrections, let me know. If you have any thoughts of your own, let me know. In the meantime, do click the like. Do subscribe to the channel. Do click the bell notification so you know when the next one of these is coming out. And I will see you all again real soon. Ta-ta for now. PlayStation